Hello and welcome to this short video series on Resolve Insights. My name is Rob Kelsall, Vice President of Global Sales Engineering, and in this series I'll be joined by Senior Sales Engineer Alan Luce. Resolve Insights is a full AIOps platform built for today's IT complexity, giving you full visibility of critical business applications and services and the underlying IT infrastructure that supports them, ranging from compute to storage and even network infrastructure devices. So in this three-part series, we'll be covering all of the key capabilities within the Resolve Insights platform. In part one, we'll be covering agentless auto discovery and dynamic dependency mapping. Then in part two, we'll move more into the event correlation, noise reduction, and some of the predictive analytics capabilities we have. And then finally, in part three, we'll cover integration into our automation platform, including moving organizations towards a position of proactive or self-healing IT. So let's get started with part one, discovery and dependency mapping. In this session, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the configuration and understand how you can configure agentless auto discovery within your environment across compute, storage, and network devices, as well as understanding critical business services and applications, and showing you how you can quickly understand the IT infrastructure that supports them. So just before I hand over to Alan to see some of these capabilities in action, I just wanted to give you a quick overview of the key capabilities we'll be taking a look at. First of all, the agentless auto discovery. As the name suggests, there's no agent to deploy here, so you don't have to worry about deploying and updating agents. You can configure a schedule using credentials of when the platform will go out and discover devices across compute, network, and storage. Once this information comes back, we'll then dynamically show you the network topology and how these devices are communicating together. So we'll be able to show not only the relationships between these devices, but also how these correlate up to critical applications and or business services within your environment. The final step we'll show you is pushing this across to your ITSM platform. So whether you're using Sherwell or ServiceNow or another ITSM platform, it's important to have this information at your fingertips within that platform. So for example, if you're creating an incident and you want to add a CI to that incident, you'll definitely want to understand what the impact will be. For example, if that was a server and you wanted to reboot it, or what business applications or services is that going to affect? So the Resolve platform can fully integrate with your ITSM platform and ensure that your analysts have that information to hand. So with that, let's hand over to Alan so you can see these capabilities in action.
Thanks, Rob. What I have here is going to be Insights Dashboard. Now, what this is going to be is a high-level overview of the environment as it sits right now. So in the upper right will be the applications that we discover with our agentless discovery. In the middle might be a summary of information based on device. So it's got availability, CPU, disk, and memory. And on the left, a health chart perspective, if you will, and actual events. We're actually going to come back to this in another session. Where I'd like to begin today is going to be with our topology view. So starting off with the topology view, this is going to be an overall view of your environment as it sits right now with its dependencies. And all of the different devices that we're going to discover via our agentless discovery will be mapped out here for you. Now, what we can do is take this as an overall view, and of course this is useful, but if you did support a specific application, I can select it here from the drop down. And so for instance, if I were to say for my SAP environment, now it's going to gray out or blur, if you will, the background or noise or information and identify just the targeted systems for that SAP environment. Now from here, a frequent question that I'm asked is, how do we get all of this auto-discovered information? I'm going to come across now to our Discovery tab. By clicking in, you're going to see exactly how that's done very quickly. And there's going to be a number of programmatic interfaces that we can work with and move through in order to do that full auto discovery of your environment, of its assets. Now, within that, we can also watch the different applications as well. So if I come over here to say this flow schedule, we can now schedule this either on the discovery of the endpoints or the discovery of the application in order to track that information and really keep that information up to date. Now, frequently from a business owner's perspective, so if it was only the SAP application that you supported, I'm going to come back here to this dashboard, and you'd more probably look at this from a business level view, which is going to be this display here with all the applications brought forward. And from here, it gives you that quick visibility into the specific applications. So for instance, my SAP application, I can see that there are 3 alerts here. Looks like there's 1 critical and 2 minor, and I can very quickly get a health check into a specific application or environment. If I were to click into this, I can actually bring that out just a little bit further. Now on the right here, we're going to see that it's only the isolated we'll say topology of that application as it sits. Now I can see this in 2 different fashions. I can see this as a physical hardware. So this is going to include the different storage. It's going to include the networking pieces of equipment, etc. Or I can see this from an application flow view. And so I can see the different application servers speaking to one another and how those connections are formed. Alternatively, I can look over here on the left and I can select this services mappings, and I can see a breakout of all the different services and applications that are supported by the different virtual machines in this case, and that's broken out here for us. Now, a natural progression of all this information being gathered up is to bring that back together and correlate that and push that into a CMDB. Now, if I were to X out of this screen here, and I'm going to come across to my admin tab, I'm going to show you exactly how we set that up and how simple that is. By selecting ITSM configuration, I now is going to be presented with the configuration view for our CMDB push into ITSM platforms. Now, the one that's configured within my environment today is going to be ServiceNow, but this absolutely could be Sharewell, this could be Remedy, what have you, and at which point we're going to set up all of the fields here in order to create that communication with the CMDB. Now, some checkboxes down here below, we can auto push inventory, both the raw inventory that we saw in the topology view, but also the applications as they're discovered into the CMDB, and we can also look for change requests. And we really have that bi-directional communication in order to bridge that gap there between your CMDB and your ITSM platform. In the future sessions, we'll dig in a little bit deeper to some of those pieces there. But I think with that, it's a great summary. I'll pass this back along to you, Rob.
Thanks very much for that, Alan. So in that brief demonstration, we saw how the totally agentless Resolve Insights platform was able to very quickly go out and discover all of your IT infrastructure and automatically show the dependencies in terms of the mission critical applications and services that that infrastructure supports. And then finally there, Alan showed how we can push that over into your ITSM platform. So thanks very much for your time in watching, and thanks again, Alan, for the demonstration. If you would like a one-on-one demonstration to get a bit more detail here, reach out to us, hello@resolve.io. We'll be very happy to set that up. Also look out for part 2 in this series, where we'll be talking about event and alert correlation, noise reduction, and predictive analytics. Thanks very much for your time, and we'll see you on the next one.